Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. If you have been following this series about narcissistic abuse, you will know that in the first two parts I talked about how these patterns began, starting in childhood, at school, and in friendships. But today I want to open up about something much deeper. So, this is about my experience with narcissistic relationships, how my past trauma shaped the partners I chose, and how I finally began to rebuild my life after years of pain. So, section one, the patterns repeats. Because of my past and the constant anxiety I lived in, I was drawn to partners who felt exciting, intense, and promised the world. At first, they made me feel safe and seen, but it was fake safety. It was like a false sense of security. Whenever someone genuine came along, someone calm, steady, and patient, I felt too anxious and unsafe. I didn't realize it then. Peace felt unfamiliar, and people who took their time just felt unsafe. So I kept ending up with people who wore masks, wolves in sheep clothing, people who had their own narcissistic traits and were with me for what I could give them, not for who I truly was. I was constantly complying, trying not to be abandoned. That fear of abandonment was the silencer, the controller in my relationship, and eventually it broke them down. Section 2, my breaking point. After my worst relationship, one that involved domestic violence, I hit a wall. I knew I couldn't keep living like this. I went into 2 years of counseling. By that point, I was already a Buddhist and had started practicing meditation and reading books like The Power of Now and on the teachings of Chinese Buddhism. Those years were all about taking responsibility for my healing, not for what happened to me, but from how I was going to rise from it. Therapy helped me understand myself deeply. I started to rebuild my life slowly and steadily, and I had a lot of pieces to pick up. Section 3, Rebuilding My Life. After therapy, I still met some wrong people, but this time was different. I started recognizing the red flags early and walking away before toxic got too toxic. I began focusing on myself, went to university, got great jobs, promotions. I rebuilt everything from scratch. Then came one of the hardest parts, facing my parents. We argued. I tried to explain my feelings, even wrote them a letter. At first, denied everything, even suggested I was imagining things or had a mental issue. But over the years, I've come to see that they know, even if they can't admit it directly. I forgave them. Now we have a healthy relationship. I keep a respectful distance, and when boundaries are crossed, I speak up and they listen. That alone is a huge progress. The last relationship, section 4. Then, when my life was finally stable, I met the father of my child. He seemed so different. Stable, kind, goal orientated. He said all the right things, told me I was the one, and even made me a list of everything I wanted in a partner, saying I can do that. For 6 months, everything felt perfect, but slowly the same patterns began again. Excuses, distance, missed birthdays and holidays, always a reason. Eventually, I broke up with him. Something inside me knew it wasn't right. But after a couple of months, he came back saying he had realized his mistakes, introduced me to his son, and I grew to love that boy as if he was my own. Later, I got pregnant, and then came the cruelest part. He left me, said the baby wasn't his. He abandoned me for 5 months, using every excuse possible. When he finally came back, it was only after his mother convinced him as the child was his. For a while, things seemed better, but the cycle returned. Emotional abuse, financial control, and eventually physical violence. The final straw was the day he pinned me to the wall and said he could hurt me and get away with it. That was the day I decided never again. I got a normalization order, and although his family turned against me, I chose my safety and my child's safety over fear. Section 5, the healing. That moment broke me, but also freed me. Since then, I've been learning that real self love means not the kind that's about affirmation or spa days, but the kind that sets boundaries, walks away, and chooses peace over chaos. Today, I can say I'm not just surviving anymore, I'm thriving. I've learned to trust my intuition, protect my energy, and raise my child in a space of calm and truth. If you're listening and any of this feels familiar to you, please know you're not alone. Healing takes time, but you can rewrite your story, I promise. You deserve love that feels safe, not love that you have to survive in. Okay, if this video resonated with you, please like, subscribe, and share it with someone who needs it. In the next part, I will talk how I learned to truly protect myself and attract healthy relationships and the tools that helped me to stay grounded in self-worth. Thank you for listening. And remember, your peace is sacred. Goodbye.